What's up, everybody? It's your favorite show, Get a Bucket. I'm your host, Trey, and as usual, hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful day. Now, today I want to talk about the third best shooting guard ever. Well, okay, I'm going to say 3 through 14. Because one, I came up with a list of 14. And two, I'm saying we starting at 3 because we already know who 1 and 2 is, respectfully. Now, keep in mind, the criteria for the best shooting guard, right, it's in the word, shooting and guarding. So I'd prefer to see offense and defense out here, okay? A two-way player for me is better than just a solely offensive player. As long as that two-way player's offense is at minimum close to the offensive player's offense. Because again, that offensive player is not playing defense. So two-way player beats out a player who is offensive minded. So again, there was a point in time, for example, where I thought DeJounte Murray might be better than Trae Young because DeJounte can give you the same offensive production as well as defend a lot better. So that just gives you context as to what I'm talking about. Next, you got to have solid stats and production, okay? Like your impact has to be pretty good. Stats don't tell the whole story, but you got to have some solid stats to look at off top. Like we're not bringing up Andre Roberson, even though he's a solid defender. His stats did not showcase for him to be in this list. And that's no slight to Andre, because keep in mind, the buddy could move his puppies. Tony Allen can move his puppies, one of the best defenders we've seen. Stats don't look the same. Production, impact, they were great on the defensive end. Offensive, though, that's where you got to also showcase some of these things. So if you just defensive minded, it's going to hurt you a little bit. Also, we got to look at things like accolades. Again, if we're using someone like Tony Allen, a great shooting guard to have on your team, I personally wouldn't have minded having him on my squad personally. But he didn't get any chips, no MVPs, no All-NBAs. He was on the all-defensive teams for sure. But we didn't have the chips, the MVPs, the All-NBAs. You got to have those up there. And then I'm also taking into account things like pace of play. That's defined by the eras. And remember, when the games first started, right? Remember the 60s, the 70s, those were the fastest pace of play, meaning you have more opportunities to score because you have more possessions during those periods of time. The 80s were the next highest pace of play era. After that, it goes to the current days, the 20s, 2020s, then the 2010s, then the 90s, and then the 2000s. The 2000s are the lowest pace of play era. So when you're thinking about these eras, ladies and gentlemen, the pace of play matters. So I told y'all, we already know who number 1 and number 2 is. That's MJ, right? He number 1. And Kobe, he number 2. Now, we got to factor in, right? Because again, MJ, Kobe, they have similar stats, similar accomplishments and productions. They're both elite two-way players. Jordan, of course, has 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs, 5 MVPs, a DPOY, 14-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA, 9-time All-Defense, 3-time All-Star MVP, 10-time scoring champ, and 3-time steals champ. Kobe, 5-time champ, 2-time finals MVP, and MVP, 18-time All-Star, 15-time All-NBA, 12-time All-Defense, 4-time All-Star MVP, and a 2-time scoring champ. Keep in mind, both of these players were averaging 25 plus, 6 or 5 plus rebounds, 5 assists, 1.4 steals, and 0.5 blocks plus. Like Jordan had 36, 5, 2.3 steals, and 0.8 blocks. Just saying, all right? And the eras that they played were in respectable ones. Kobe was in what? The lower 2? Jordan was in the 3rd highest, but then also the 2nd lowest. He dabbled a little bit in the 2000s, but it's not enough for me to give him credit. But Buddy dominated across the board, offensively and defensively, easily 1 and 2. So you might be wondering, well, who in the world are 3 through 14? Let me give you the names of the people who are on the list right now in no order, but we're going to see how this goes. Ready? All right, so we got D. Wade, Allen Iverson, James Harden, Clyde Drexler, Jerry West, Klay Thompson, Ray Allen, Reggie Miller, George Gervin, Pete Maravich, Tracy McGrady, Joe Dumars, and Earl Monroe. I'm sorry, Earl Monroe. I'm going to keep it simple because I ain't give everybody else's nicknames. My bad, Earl. I ain't mean to slight everybody else. My apologies, fellas. Listen, though, okay? Some of y'all might be wondering, well, why are some of these people on the list? Like T-Mac, for example. Let's break it down because I'm going to go through everyone's name and talk about why I got them rated the way they are. So let's start it off with Earl Monroe. Told y'all his name is Earl Monroe. Okay, I got you. 6'3" shooting guard. I say shooting guard because he played 10 of his seasons as a shooting guard 3 as a point guard. He was a one-time champion, 4-time All-Star, and an All-NBA. And he boasted 19 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal. Like, the man did quality numbers. All right. But I got him at 14 because, well, everybody else on this list I felt did a little bit better. And keep in mind the championship that he wins. I do give that credit. I do. And I'm sometimes torn between keeping him right where he is right now or moving him up. But championships aren't always based on one player. And keep in mind, I don't think Earl was necessarily the best player on that team. He might have had a little more help than some of the other players. But still want to keep him there at 14. If he moves up, we may talk about it. Reggie Miller is at number 13. Now, keep in mind, Earl Pearl, like I say, was 6'3" shooting guard. Reggie was a 6'7" shooting guard. Okay? Like, one of the best shooters we've seen. 18 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1.1 steals, 0.2 blocks. 5-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA. I have him higher than Earl the Pearl personally because, again, from a shooting perspective, from a scoring perspective, from a career standpoint, we probably remember Reggie a little bit more than we do Earl the Pearl Monroe. Both good players for sure. Again, the championship might help out Earl's case in terms of Reggie Miller. I personally put Reggie ahead of Earl the Pearl because, again, of what he did for the game, his points across the board, shooting. We're talking about much better efficiency. And in kind of a tougher era, too. The era does help favor out Reggie Miller. So, again, Reggie in the 88 through 05, Earl 68 to 80. I'm a slide Reggie. And he also played 5 more seasons. But, that, it's cool. Number 12. We got to talk about here Ray Allen, 6'5" shooting guard playing between 1997 and 2014. That's 18 years right there, ladies and gentlemen. And he boasted 19 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1.1 steals, and 0.2 blocks. This is a 2-time champion, although he was not the lead player on his team. Still a quality asset on the squad. 10-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA. And he gave 45, 40, 89 splits. I have him ahead of Reggie Miller because of the 2-time champ. Again, Reggie had a good team. One of his teams did get hoaxed a little bit. I'll give you that. Ray was a pivotal player on every championship team he was on. And to keep it a buck with you, he could have been there he could have had 3 championships if he went to a game 7 against my Lakers in 2010. So again, Ray Allen, the championships do help out, and he was a solid cog on those runs. Again, so was Earl. I'll give you that. But the longevity piece, the eras that they played in, I lean a little bit more with Ray personally. If you want to throw Earl a little higher, I'll hear you. But again, I probably wouldn't put him higher than Reggie myself personally. But let's talk about it, shall we? We got number 11, Klay Thompson. That's 6'5" shooting guard. Sometimes he played small forward, but he played more shooting guard than he did small forward, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen. And that's from 2012 until present. So he's boasting 19 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 0.8 steals, 0.5 blocks. Keep in mind his defensive stats probably going to be a little bit lower than what you might think because he was playing the best players all the time. He was usually guarding the best. I vividly remember seeing him guard Kyrie Irving. That's quite a challenge. And on 45, 41, 86 splits, that's not bad at all. 4-time champ, 5-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, and All-Defense to boot. Keep in mind, too, he was kind of overshadowed by Steph Curry, kind of overshadowed by KD. But we remember Klay Thompson for the player he was. A hooper. This the same cat that dropped, 61 points on 11 dribbles? Disgusting work. So, again, I got Klay Thompson ahead of Ray Allen and Reggie Miller. If you want to put Klay a little bit below, I hear it off of his own accolades. But at the same time, that 4-time championship, hey, man, like that sits volumes for me over Ray Allen, over Reggie Miller, and over Earl the Pearl. So, again, y'all want to put him higher or lower? I'll hear it, but Klay Thompson, number 11 for me. Number 10, Joe Dumars. Also keep in mind, too, Klay Thompson played better defense than Ray and Reggie. I don't want to say Earl, because it's not like I watched Earl play basketball, to be clear. But defense did help him out. That's the reason why I put him higher than Reggie and Ray. Number 10, Joe Dumars. Hence why I said defense. You know what I'm saying? 6'3" shooting guard. He played point guard, but that was only for 1 year. 86 through 99. Okay, that's a solid little era. He gave 16 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists, 0.9 steals, 0.1 blocks on 46, 38, 84 splits. Here's the thing. 2-time champion as the second option. 6-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA, 5-time all defense, and a finals MVP. That finals MVP sits like it weighs volumes for me, ladies and gentlemen. Also, the 5-time defense. Again, similar production to everybody else that I listed off. Did the others score more? Certainly did. But from an all-defense perspective, defensively, yes, the stats are maybe higher than the others, but to be clear, Joe Dumars is guarding the better players, similar to Klay Thompson. If they were guarding weaker opponents plus with their defensive skill set, their defensive stats would be a little higher. So again, when offense is close to defense, when the two-way players' offense is close to the offensive-minded offensive players, offensively, right? I got to give the nod, the edge to the two-way player. And that's what Joe Dumars was. And keep in mind, too, he's 6'3", so he's kind of technically undersized for a shooting guard. But that's neither here nor there. It's another discussion for another day. So, again, Joe Dumars, number 10 for me. I personally feel like that's fair. But let's move on up, right? We're going to talk about number 9. This one could be controversial because, ladies and gentlemen, I understand. I personally used to view him as a small forward myself. But, again, I understand it. Tracy McGrady. Now, he played 10 seasons as a shooting guard. Might even be 11. Keep it a buck with you. We'll talk about it, though. But at 6'8", the man was solid. Giving you 20 points a game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 1.2 steals, and 0.9 blocks. Again, that height and athleticism helps out, and that allows him to do what he did. All right, now, 7-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA, and a 2-time scoring champ. I hear you. Why is T-Mac ahead of someone like Joe Dumars, who has a finals MVP, 5 times All-Defense? Well, again, I saw T-Mac defend a little bit. It was good enough. Now, he won on the all-defensive teams, but he was better defender than Reggie Miller. He was a better defender than Ray Allen. He was more offensively productive than Klay Thompson, and I think he did a little bit more on the offensive end than Joe Dumars, to the point that I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give it to Tracy McGrady. Keep in mind, too, his defensive stats weren't bad, and it's not like he was guarding against trash players. So, and I took that in consideration. Also, the era he played in was fairly tough. So was Joe, don't get me wrong. I just thought T-Mac had a little bit more of the 2000s, which, again, if y'all remember, that is the lowest pace of play. So the fact that he was able to get a higher offensive production in a lower pace of play, that speaks volumes to me personally, ladies and gentlemen. Some of y'all might think he should be a small forward. I hear it. But again, he played 10 years as a shooting guard and 5 to 6 as a small forward. I'm a lean shooting guard for this one. But let's move on up, because we got to talk about number 8, because this one could be controversial for some players. James Harden. All right, 6'5", and this is the point guard / shooting guard. Here's the thing, over 17 years, right, he's played 9 as a shooting guard, 8 as a point guard, okay? So it's kind of controversial. It's very close. He could be a point guard. I got him on the shooting guard list. That's what he also started out with, keep it a stack with you. But he averaging 24 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 1.5 steals, 0.6 blocks. Here's the thing. 11-time All-Star, 8-time All-NBA, an MVP, a 6th man of the year, 3-time scoring champ, 2-time assist champ. The ISO game he produced, very solid. And let's be clear, too, he's one of only 2 people to win both 6th man of the year and MVP. All right. So that, again, you have to take into consideration. That's a hard feat to accomplish. We've seen Lou Williams be 6th man of the year and ain't sniff MVP. Shout out to Bill Walton for being the other person to win that one. I want to say that was 86. He won 6th man of the year, and then 78 he won MVP, which is crazy when you think about it, because James Harden won his 6th man of the year first, then his MVP. So that's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting. But James Harden, again, no real defense. Outside, don't get me wrong, on OKC, he was defending. He was moving them puppies. Now, after he left and he went to Houston, he won't defend it as much. That's the knock on James, personally. Because, again, he did a little better than T-Mac. I'll give you that. The longevity favors him over T-Mac. Actually, they're tied right now in the same amount of years. But the offensive production that James gives a little bit more than what T-Mac gave. And again, neither one of them were really stellar, not locked down, on defense. So because of that, I do favor James at number 8. But if you have a gripe with that, I hear you. But we're going to move on up. We're going to keep this thing pushing. Number 7, George Gervin. All right. Oh, and keep in mind, too, James Harden played in a much easier era. So I may even want to switch him with T-Mac. The problem is, though, James's offense was a little bit better than T-Mac's. I'm not saying T-Mac's not the better scorer. I view T-Mac as the better scorer, personally. Like, if I want to give someone the ball in offense, I'm giving it to T-Mac. But James Harden has showcased that he's a pretty daggone good scorer. And also, he won an MVP. T-Mac didn't. And James Harden was the lead player on his team. He would have gone to the finals if it weren't for Chris Paul's injury. But again, it didn't happen. Ergo, he had number 8. Number 7, George Gervin. Okay, this is another one that was a little controversial because some people might have him as a small forward. I got him as a shooting guard because in 14 seasons, guess what? He played 10 of them as a shooting guard, giving you 25 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1.2 steals, and a block. Solid splits as well, too, but here's where it got me. 12 assists, 9 All-NBAs, 4-time scoring champ, and an All-Star MVP. No, he was not an MVP, ladies and gentlemen. But again, I think he's a better player when it comes to overall ability. Now, he didn't get the defensive numbers, he didn't get all defense. He wasn't a depoy. But if we're going solely off numbers, right, he had better numbers than James Harden. I do think he gave a little bit more effort on the defensive end than James Harden did. Because James Harden has been known to do that Olay defense. Now, I think George Gervin's defense is a little closer to T-Mac's. So, if T-Mac had a slightly better defensive stats, maybe I bring him up over James Harden. Maybe. Or maybe if T-Mac's numbers offensively rose up, like if his scoring was closer to 25, I'm putting T-Mac ahead of James Harden. But we're talking about careers right now. And maybe as time moves on, maybe James Harden scoring dips. So maybe his number drops, and maybe we need to drop James Harden. But until that time, he's ahead of T-Mac, but below George Gervin. Because, again, George Gervin can move them puppies, and George Gervin was a solid offensive player. And that's why I have him at number 7. 6'7" shooting guard between 70s and 80s. Yes, we're talking about the second and third highest pace of play era. He did his thing in both eras, though. I'm just saying. So, again, George Gervin, I got at number 7. He did his thing across the board. Now, number 6. This is where it could get a little more controversial as well. Because I got Allen Iverson as my number 6 shooting guard. 6 foot, and we may be giving him that 6 foot because he might be shorter than that. Played during 97 to 2011, so he played in one of the tougher eras, averaging 27 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 2.2 steals, and 0.2 blocks. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody on this list is literally taller than Allen Iverson. And Allen Iverson has come close to blocking at the same rate. Actually, he tied Ray Allen's rate, Reggie Miller's rate. And keep in mind, Ray is 6'5". Reggie is 6'7". Pete Maravich, 6'5", giving 0.3 blocks. Joe Dumars, 6'3", 0.1 block. Earl Monroe's 0.3 on 6, and he's 6'3". AI is under 6 foot. We'll give him 6 foot, though. 0.2 blocks. And keep in mind his accomplishments, because we already know what his offense did and his defense did. Accomplishments: 11-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA, MVP, 2-time All-Star MVP, 3-time steals champ, 4-time scoring champ. And the big thing is he led his team to the finals as a 6-foot guard. We don't see that happening too often, to be honest with you. Isaiah Thomas is the only one under 6'3" that has under 6'3", meaning 6'2" and below, that has led his team to a championship. Allen Iverson could have been that other player. So if he did win, we got to bring AI up. But because he did not, it's the only reason why he's that low. Now, y'all may be wondering, well, who's ahead of Allen Iverson? Pay attention. Because we got Clyde the Glide Drexler at number 5. 6'7" shooting guard. Played between 84 and 98. Ladies and gentlemen, the man didn't score but 20 points a game. But he gave 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 0.7 blocks. And he was a champion, a 10-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA. And let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, he led his team to the finals. He would be a 2-time champ, finals MVP, if it was not for Michael Jeffrey Jordan. MJ has messed up a few players' careers, keep in mind. I mean, AI did go up against Shaq and Kobe. I hear you. I give you that. Both of these players are kind of close for me. If you want to interchange them, cool, I hear you. I personally have Clyde above AI. Because, again, the defense for me on Clyde, pretty stellar. Like it was pretty stellar. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like he was moving them puppies. And offensively, I hear you. I hear you. He not the same scorer that AI was. But keep in mind, AI was more of a jack than Clyde was. So if we're looking at it, again, I do favor Clyde in this scenario. He's the taller player. He got the more athleticism. Offense was stellar. Defense was probably better for me. So I personally put Clyde at number 5. But if you got him higher, I hear it. But let's move on, shall we? Because we got some other people to talk about. Because I know you're probably wondering who else is up here. Number 4. This one could be a little controversial. Because Jerry West, keep in mind, right, he's in my basketball gods ranking, right? I don't put him in my top 10. You could consider Jerry West in the top 10 all time. And as a position, he's played more point guard than shooting guard. But sometimes people classify him as a shooting guard. And I mean, it's tough because I look at him as a shooting guard. 27 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 2.6 steals, and 0.7 blocks. Yikes. Now, he's a one-time champ, 14-time All-Star, 12-time All-NBA, 5-time All-Defense, scoring title, Finals MVP, All-Star MVP. Now we starting to get up on them accolades. So if you count him as a shooting guard over a point guard, which I hear it if you classify him more as a point guard, I kind of view him more as a 2. I hear you, though, 6'3". That might be point guard height, undersized, 2 guard. But, again, Joe Dumars was 6'2", 6'3", I mean, shooting guard. AI was 6 foot as a shooting guard. But, again, I hear you because of the years that he played point guard, favor that one as opposed to shooting guard. But if you keep him as shooting guard, he got to be number 4. If you take him off the list, then we can keep moving some people up. But, again, number 4, Jerry West. And if you keep him as shooting guard, he got to be number 4. Because the third best shooting guard of all time is, in fact, Dwyane Wade. 6'4" shooting guard. He played a little point at times, but again, played during one of the tougher eras, gave you 22 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 1.5 steals, 0.8 blocks, solid splits. Here's the thing, though. 3-time champion. We already know he had a Finals MVP and one of the best final performances that we've seen. 13-time All-Star, 8-time All-NBA, All-Star, MVP, scoring champ, and a 3-time All-Defense. He's the best shot-blocking guard. I think he has more blocks than Jordan. That's kind of crazy. So again, ladies and gentlemen, offense and defense combined, plus the accolades, stats and production, pace of play, because he came in 04, left 2019, so he played in one of the lower eras, pace-wise, and he was still hooping. During that time, he was really stellar. He only dropped in production because of the later years. So again, ladies and gentlemen, I got D-Wade number 3, and when you compare D-Wade to Kobe, they're kind of close. Right, again, Kobe, 5-time champ, D-Wade, 3-time champ. Both of them got a Finals MVP. D-Wade don't have an MVP. If he had an MVP, this may make things consider like a little tougher, especially if you up them championships just a little bit. But the longevity piece, too, for D-Wade, Kobe played a little longer. And he had a little bit more accolades. Offense was slightly better. We can argue whose defense was better, but again, the defensive accolades favor Kobe more so than D-Wade. So, again, there was a world where I thought D-Wade could challenge Kobe. There was a world I thought that T-Mac could challenge Kobe. There are some players that have looked during some times, and I'm like, they might be able to challenge some of these boys. But overall, we already have a definitive lock on 1 and 2. 3 through 14, ladies and gentlemen, we can talk about a little bit. So, again, number 3, D-Wade. Number 4, Jerry West. If you have Jerry West as a point guard, all right, cool, you can take him off your list. I like him right there, personally. But I also may see what the point guard's looking like. Maybe I can add him up there. Number 5, Clyde the Glide Drexler. Number 6, Allen Iverson. Number 7, George Gervin. Number 8, James Harden. Number 9, Tracy McGrady. Number 10, Joe Dumars. Number 11, Klay Thompson. Number 12, Ray Allen. Number 13, Reggie Miller. Number 14, Earl Monroe. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that does conclude the end of the episode. But I am curious, who are y'all best shooting guards? We already know who 1 and 2 is. So give me your top 10. If you want to give me 4 extras, that's cool too. But I'm definitely curious who y'all think are the next iterations after MJ and Kobe, of course. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please make sure to like, subscribe, comment, tell anyone who's anyone about the show. My name is Trey. I'm the host of Get a Bucket. I hope you are all having a good one. Take care.